Then I need to now show the, no, before that I need to tell you the press regarding the, there is, so till now we talked about the peer review of your protocol. So you have designed a review question by discussing with your review team or the team members. You have made a protocol. You have made the protocol using the checklist of the Prisma P, which is the Prisma checklist for protocol. And then you have to get a peer review of that protocol, and you may or may not publish it, but you register it in Prospero. In Prospero, you need to give these basic search. Search strategy you need to give. May not be a very lengthy one, but a basic search you need to give in the protocol also. Now, after that, you start, once you have done your Prospero registration, you start with, process of search. And you have made a detailed search, the way we have seen, all the detailed vocabulary, synonym, related terms, and each, at least in 2 database, you search for the article and you have made a search term, that Excel sheet, whatever you have made, and download it. Now you need the peer review of this search strategy, and this is known as the press. So what is the full form of press? Press is the peer review of the electronic search strategies checklist. They help those people whom you send it for peer review, they help you in improving your search strategy. So it is a checklist based system. So we'll understand this. What is a press? Full form is peer review of your electronic search strategy. So like, let's example, we are starting this systematic review on the effectiveness of probiotic, which is the topic for acute diarrhea in children with dehydration. So like, if I have initially designed with the initial concept, so I have the basic search which I have written is the probiotic or lactobacillus. Then again, the next concept is acute diarrhea or gastroenteritis, and the third one is children. And then I have connected these 3 with and. So if I am sending it for a peer review, what was the issues identified? And even if I use the checklist, so a reviewer uses the press checklist. I'll show you the checklist to refine the search strategies. Because in my question, if you see this, there was a term dehydration also, but I have not included here any term of dehydration. So he might suggest me that there should be term with dehydration also. So the current search strategy does not cover the term related to dehydration, which is a key element. So probably he will ask me to add that term also. So revision which he suggested is probiotic. This is the same. Bifidobacterium he has added, and then he has added dehydration also. So this was like in the key term or the concept. If I have missed something, the peer reviewer will suggest that you should search these terms also. The second is use of Boolean and the proximity operators. So we know we have not talked about much of the proximity operators, because in PubMed, this proximity operator, that doesn't work. It works in the other places, but even if you don't use that, you will get your searches. So like use of and or, generally we assume that all of us know well how to use this or and. So if, but in this case, this near 5, this is not applicable in this case in PubMed. Near 5 is like if there is a phrase like where there are 3-4 terms, but like you see that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, many people write it as attention hyperactivity disorder or reverse of those sequence. Then if you write this near 5, that means even if the order is reversed, it will pick those words. But in PubMed, this doesn't work. So we will not go with this proximity operator. And this press checklist, it is there in day 2, and it is also shared with you in the drive, this checklist. Now coming to the third, which is the mesh, use of mesh. So if my search lacks the specific database, like if I'm doing with Embase, if my word, it doesn't give enough entry word or mesh is not that, so I may see, like not I means if I'm the reviewer. So I'm talking right now as a reviewer. So I'm reviewing somebody's search strategy, and I'm seeing like if he has used the correct search strategies or not. So probably I'll add more term to that. What are the other mesh terms? And I may add other mesh terms in that. Similarly, whether the reviewer has, whether the team has done a free text searching or not, I will also perform a search, because for that I need to perform a search. Then only I can add. So reviewer also should be, whom you sent for a peer review, should be well versed in systematic review search. You cannot send it to anyone. And generally, they say that in Western country, I mean, maybe in Europe and America, there is a specific information specialist, information science specialist, who is a specialist in searching systematic review. So they go to those librarian, they call basically, and then they do this peer review of their search strategy. But in India, in our context, if you see, we don't have, and even with our first publication, we did not go through this search peer review of search strategy. But again, it depends. It is not mandatory for a publication that you have to go, but it refines your search. So you can ask from someone, like we ask for a scale validation. Similarly, you can ask for experts who are doing these searches or who are doing the systematic review and meta-analysis. You can acknowledge them in some way, because of course, like without acknowledging, it's not a formal process. Like you are not sending it to journal and they are not sending it separately. So you have to go to them for this peer review. So free text searching is also issue is identified, and then it gets revised. So I think it's only then again the person checks for the spelling, syntax, and line numbers. So if there are no spelling error or no syntax error related to the database, then no further revision is required. Use of limits and filter, yes, of course you can use that, but if you go through the standard literature, they say that you should not use much of the limits and filter. Rather, you should screen all the article. Remember that big net, which we have shown yesterday, that picture of a big net for fishing, that we want. That's why maybe you can, because I don't want a publication range, or I don't want like last 5 years. I want all the articles. So I may not use, but if somebody wish to use filter or have used it, then I have to see like whether it is correctly applied or not. So after this press review, you will see that I will have like my search strategy will have a broader keywords. I will address all the concept which are there in my PICOT research question. Whether I have used the appropriate term. There was one error with our search term. By mistake, what we did, like instead of or, one concept I have like written and then we later realized that, like by mistake, I have added symbiotic and probiotic with and. These errors might happen. So if somebody else is reviewing your search strategy, he can point out, like you have, I did not do out of ignorance. I did out of a, silly error, you can say. So these help you to refine your search strategy. And then if you see this, original strategy, whatever is there as a missing term, your search gets refined. So again, I'll show you that. Okay, we have. So press is again, it's a framework for evaluating the quality and comprehensiveness of the search strategies. It's a checklist. I think I will not go into the detail. The objective is basically to improve the search accuracy. And the next is to optimize the use of Boolean operator, ensure appropriate controlled vocabulary, whether it is entry or it is mesh. And it also reviews the free text terms. It checks for the spelling, syntax, and line number, and appropriate application of limits or filter if it is related. Yes. So this is the press checklist. So there are, you can see 6 head elements. Translation of the research question. Is the research question, just a second, appropriately reflected in search concept? Like yesterday, one girl asked regarding the difference between the PICOT research question and the search concept. So yes, research question appropriately reflected in search concept. Are the Boolean operator or the proximity operator logically used and correctly used? Are subject heading relevant and comprehensive? Are synonym or variations included? Of course, antonym if you are using not, but generally we don't use not. And then spelling, syntax, and line number, and use of limits and filter. So using this checklist, a reviewer refines your search strategy. This is the press guideline checklist. So after you are done with your uh, developing a detailed search strategy, you can send that file, and they will search, and then they also suggest from their end. First is checking your search, seeing the transparency, the number of results which you got and they are getting, and then adding their input, whether you have missed on some points, like using all these elements. So am I making myself clear to you? I think we are not doing the exercise now. So we are not doing a breakout room activity on this press, because we have got the other things which are like importing in Rayan and all. So I'm just stopping at this point. But I hope you must have understood the concepts related to this. So now I'll go to Rayan. So now, till now, what we have done, we have. Yes, Dr. Pradeep. Hello. Do you have anybody is having any query? Then before I go to Rayan, I think let's discuss those query. Let me see the chat if someone is not. There's one new message. Nothing, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Then this is the interface. Now I am done with all the file importation of the file, which is the NBIB file for the PubMed. Then Embase RIS format, Web of Science RIS format. And okay, before that, if you see the Prisma, let me show you again. There is something known as the registries. Yes. So again, we discussed about these records. Now, can you see something as registers? Is it visible to you people? Registers. Now, what are these registers? Anyone? Because we have seen the database and you have to put the number of database here. So that's why you are like, if I'm searching from, let's say we have seen like Web of Science, the Embase, Medline, Ovid, and PubMed. And then next is your Google Scholar. So Google Scholar will come in gray literature. So I will not put the name. So I'll put here 3, like PubMed, Web of Science, and Embase. So in database, I'll put n is equal to 3. Means I have explored the 3 databases, right? And in registers, I'll show you what are registers. So basically, registers are the clinical trial registries. So for that, what you have to do, you go to the Google, and then what I'll do, let me search the Google. So I have typed here as clinical trial registries and result database. If you press this, you will see there is a clinical trial database of WHO. So this is there. Again, in that Excel, before I go to this, in the Excel sheet which you have imported, you also make your own Excel sheet where you write the total number of citations which you have imported. Like we have imported 1023 article citations from Web of Science. So write that number in that a separate Excel sheet. We have shown yesterday, like you can have one log of all these. There is one Excel sheet, but there is one log also. And since you are doing this, so you have to, as a PI or as a lead investigator, you have to maintain that. So on that Excel, depends, like you can do it in hard copy also on tab. Like what I did, I wrote on iPad because every day I used to write that. But it is up to you how you maintain your daily log. So on that, you can keep on writing how many articles you have extracted, because after, let's say you have started now, but how the time flies, you don't know. And after 9 months, then you will be struggling where you have kept those records. And if you have to draw that prisma, again, you need those records. So better that keep on writing how many records you have extracted from individual database. So now coming back to these registries, what are these registries? Basically, they are the clinical trial database. Means it might not have come to the formal process of publication. So in this case, you can see what are the other trials, and this we mean by registries. So if you see the clinical trial databases, these are the basic clinical trial databases. WHO International Clinical Trial Registry Platform, which is known as the ICTRP. Then there is a clinicaltrial.gov, which is a registry and database of National US Library of Medicine. Then there is a ISR CTN registry, which is a registry which is recognized by the ICMJ. Then if you come down, there is a EU Clinical Trial Registry, which is a European Union Clinical Trial Register. And then there is a Pan-African Clinical Trial Registries. So, and there is in India also, there is a CTRI. So, but we tried seeing the CTRI. We could not, search is not that easy in CTRI. So I'll tell you about CTRI later. First, I'll start with, let's say, this WHO International Clinical Trial Registry Platform. So if you click this, it is like this clinical trial registry. And then if you come here, it is writing that this portal can be accessed by the trialsearch.who.int. So if I click that, okay, so search for clinical trial in children. So you might go to the clinical trial for children, since if I'm interested in that, and then no, but here I cannot search. Let me see. Yes. So I will go to the advanced search. Here also I have to use the option of advanced search. So in title, you can see here in title what is there, what is the condition. So in title, if I want like probiotic and diarrhea. So first you have to this, and then you have to see like it is in probiotic and diarrhea. Yes, but in title also if I want these terms. And then you can go to the condition. Condition is probably if I am typing diarrhea. And here you can use any term. It is not very specific. An intervention if I go for probiotic. And if you want to have a search in clinical trial in children, then you click this. Otherwise, there's no need. And then you can where is the option of search here? Let me see. Oh, it is saying search in clinical trial. Just coming. And recruitment status, you don't need. It is saying recruiting. But if you want like all, then I will write all. The other thing I am not interested. And then here you can find there is a search. You can like add all these phase and date of registration, but I'm just showing you how to do that. You click on this search, and then you can find these recruitment status, recruiting, non-recruiting. These are the ID, probiotic patient with bile acid. Here you can see there's a lot of topic. The topic which is of your interest, like the effect of probiotic yogurt in preventing diarrhea. It is not recruiting, but if you click this, you can see if it is of some relevance or not. So this is there. Again, you can see the name of the person, the address and email. So if you don't get a full article of this, they have at least written what is their primary outcome. So duration of diarrhea. And they have also written like the time point. They've not written the secondary outcome. So like what you can do if results are available, it's not there here. They are not linked. So you can search that in the database, specific databases, or what you can do, you can contact the author also, because this also you have to mention, like how many author you have contacted. In our case also, when you will screen the article, you may not be able to get the full text of all the articles. Why? Because many times it's paid. And to access that, you have to pay that. So what we did, we have contacted individual authors. We have mailed them that we are doing systematic review and meta-analysis and we want the access to the full article. Then they have sent it. So like that also you have to maintain a log. Probably we have sent like 10 to 12 authors requesting for the full text, but we get the responses of probably 6, 8. So we get the responses of 8 people. So they have shared their article. So through that you can contact the authors also. So this is one way of, so this was one number. So you have seen the one register. Now you can again go to the second trial, the second, which is the clinicaltrial.gov.in. So again, you can see here, here also it is writing, I may write like probiotic. So here, since I have already done that, so condition is like acute diarrheal disease. Other terms are like children. Intervention is like probiotic. Since I have already done it here, that's why it is showing it. Location I don't want to add. So I will write search and it will show you all the status. Like randomized control trial of a probiotic to assess its role in preventing diarrhea. Location is West Bengal. Then it is optimizing the management of diarrheal diseases. So you can see any, click and see. Like this was the efficacy of probiotics combination on acute diarrhea. So I will click this and I will see the result. So you can see the initial abstract methods. So this title abstract screening, you can like, you are not doing fully, but the total number you will see how many numbers you got. So this also you have to maintain. Like here you can see out of, when you put that search term, total of 21 article or the 21 trial registry you could see. So this you will write it at one place that you have searched this clinical trial in the log, and out you have total 21 you got, and out of that 21 you are selecting how many, right? So that the process, because since then how will you import this? So the way is to save this in the Zotero, because Zotero also gives you the RIS file format. Through database gives you the file format, but such trial registry doesn't allow you to export in the RIS format. So what you have to do, you go to Zotero here. Since I have opened the Zotero here, and we are not going to tell you how a Zotero functions. Those of you who work with Mendeley or EndNote or any other reference software, you can use that because they also create a RIS file format. Since we work on Zotero, and I hope you know how to work on Zotero. So what I will do, I'll go and this is a Zotero icon. So I will click this Zotero and I have created a file with SRMA practice. So this file I added that file. I'll go to this Zotero and you can see this file. Similarly, I may add other files also. I may open the other results. I'll go back. Initially, I'll see in the title. So if like it is use of probiotic yogurt. So I may click this, open this, and I will see this study overview. I will add this. Then there are 2 articles. So you can keep on adding. Now what I'll do, I have to export the file format. So I'll click on this. I will select these 2. Right click, export items. And you can see this is the RIS file format. So I know I want both notes and files. I'll click this and I'll press OK. Then it will create a RIS file the way we have created a RIS file in Embase, in Web of Science, and in Ovid. I mean Medline. Okay. And then you can import this file. I mean import, and then this file you can import it. You have to import it where? In the Rayan. So now, if I again go back to Prisma, so Prisma, we have discussed these 2. Record identified from database means you have to write each. Database, if 3, then you have to write like which database. individual database also you have to write, or the total number of articles which you have. So you can add all the individual articles, like 1000 from Web of Science, 2000 from Embase, 1000 from PubMed, total of 4000 article. Similarly, registers, how many registers you have, and total number of articles. So this N is regarding the total records identified. So you can add it total, and then this block will be filled. Now we are going to the another stage, and here this record like records removed before screening, duplicate record. So there are three rows in this: duplicate records removed before screening, records marked as ineligible by automation tool, and records removed for other reasons. So here also you can write other reasons, means like you are seeing the clinical trial registry, and before importing, like total of 23 or 24 articles were there. But if you don't find them suitable, you can write like you have not included everything, but you have included uh, other articles. So you can write other reasons, means you can write that they were not in line with the research question or the concepts which we have identified. And then you can go ahead. So now we will go to this record screened. This also we will write like how many records removed. This I have to take it from Rayan, and that we will show you. Now coming to the Rayan. So I have